I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Is it any good? How many butter pumps will it get? Let's find out.
My baby likes
Hello, my butter babies! So let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It picks up not too long after the events of the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that aired on Disney Plus over the holiday season last year. The Guardians are making Knowhere, the enormous floating severed head of a Celestial they took over and now run after the events of Infinity War and Endgame, their home. It's not only home to them, but it's also home to a host of other beings from across the galaxy. This movie focuses most of its attention on Rocket Raccoon. Throughout the first two movies in the Guardians franchise and his appearances in other Marvel franchises, he's become a real fan favorite, but not much is known about his backstory. This movie aims to fix that. Through a series of flashbacks starting with the very first scene of this movie, we're told how Rocket came to be. His story is not pretty at all. It is filled with darkness, cruelty, and trauma. It's mentioned a couple of times in the movie that Rocket doesn't really like talking about his past, and this movie makes clear all the reasons why. Once you know the fullness of how he came to be, you don't blame him one bit for keeping that part of himself to himself. The second main storyline is the evolution of Star-Lord and Gamora's relationship. As we all know, in Infinity War, Gamora was sacrificed so Thanos could acquire the Soul Stone. Then, through the way too complicated to recap events of Avengers Endgame, please, let's not even get started on that, a Gamora variant is brought into the main timeline. Now, this Gamora has no memories of ever being a part of the Guardians. Therefore, she is a different character altogether. Most notably, she's a character that's never been in love with Quill. However, Quill is still desperately in love with her. Gamora only begrudgingly tolerates Quill, and that's only because they've been thrust together again into another adventure. Their journey from Quill trying desperately to reconnect with Gamora in any good way possible, and Gamora aggressively turning him down flat at every turn, to them having a sort of reconciliation by the end of the film, takes up a large portion of this movie. The rest of the movie is concerned with wrapping up the storyline of the Guardians as a whole. Some are happy the way things are. Some are looking to find their identities outside of the Guardians. They all are trying to figure out just who the heck they really are. The standouts of the supporting casts are Karen Gillan as Nebula and Pom Klementieff as Mantis. I apologize, Pom, if I fucked up your last name. These two ladies have been standouts since they were first introduced in the franchise and remain the best of the supporting characters. So Pom, even if I did mess up your last name, which again I apologize for, you and Karen are literally the best supporting characters of this franchise. So good for you. But as I mentioned, the bulk of the movie focuses in on Rocket Raccoon. At the beginning of the movie, Knowhere is attacked by Adam Warlock, played here by a woefully underutilized Will Poulter. He's been sent to Knowhere to capture Rocket Raccoon and bring him back to the High Evolutionary, played here by Chukwudi Iwuji. Again, Chukwudi, if I mispronounced your name, I am so sorry. The Guardians come to the rescue, of course, and Rocket gets away, but not before sustaining life-threatening injuries. The Guardians try their best to tend to him, but he has a kill switch embedded inside of him. Rocket is who he is today because of an experiment. The High Evolutionary is a scientist obsessed with creating perfect species of all living things, and he's gone to great lengths to make that a reality. Think the island of Dr. Moreau, only with 2023 horror sensibilities. While most of the experiments, and surgeries are only heavily implied, there are a few experiments that are shown in full and in color on screen, and they are horrific. And the end results of most of these experiments are also shown, even if how they got to that point is never shown. Rocket, with his near-genius intellect, far exceeds the High Evolutionary's expectations. The High Evolutionary's experiments are all damaged in one way or another, and he can't figure out how to fix this process, so they turn into the perfect specimens he's going for. Well, Rocket figures it out and tells him what he's doing wrong and how to fix it. So once the High Evolutionary does, suddenly Rocket has outlived his usefulness to him. Rocket, along with the rest of his friends he's made in the lab, are ordered exterminated. However, he orders Rocket's brain to be saved for further research. Rocket is sent back to his cage, and from there he hatches a plan to save his friends so they can all escape in a rocket that he knows how to fly. Unfortunately, that plan is foiled and all Rocket's friends are executed. Rocket gets away, but not before attacking the High Evolutionary and leaving him for dead. The kill switch inside Rocket was put there as a proprietary measure should someone other than the High Evolutionary get a hold of one of his experiments. If they tried to see how the animal worked, the kill switch would activate and instantly kill the animal. So when in the present day Rocket is critically injured by Adam Warlock, they can't do anything for him without activating that kill switch. This sends the Guardians on a quest to find an override code in Rocket's file located at the Ogoroscope, the headquarters for the High Evolutionary's Ogoro Corps. There they hope to find Rocket's file and the override code in it. The rest of the film is dedicated to the Guardians doing everything they can to save Rocket. Of course, in true Guardians fashion, a lot of what they do turns into immediate disaster. There are miscommunications, people going off half-cocked while completely ignoring direct orders, half-baked plans being created and implemented on the fly, them getting captured, them escaping, them getting captured again, you know, the usual Guardians shenanigans. But also in true Guardians fashion, in the midst of all the action, violence, comedy, and shenanigans, there's a hell of a lot of heart. Family, a theme that I've said over and over seems to be at the core of a lot of superhero fare as of late, is very clear and present in this movie. It is obvious this group of misfits truly care for each other. They love each other deeply, and that comes through over and over again, even as they screw up over and over again. The love they have for each other is always front and center. James Gunn knows how to write a friggin' script, man. At least 3 separate times during the course of the movie, I was openly weeping behind my 3D glasses, like boo-hooing in the middle of the theater and not giving a damn because, God damn it, James knows how to write a script. The heartstrings are pulled and the feels feel all the feels. The other thing that comes through loud and clear in this movie is its darkness. As I mentioned before, a horror element is in this movie that is played out in a way that's never been done before in a Marvel movie. It's not played for laughs or for camp like that Marvel special Werewolf by Night, which aired on Disney Plus last year. No, it's played raw and real and serious. The horror element coupled with the violent action scenes makes this movie flirt in a very real way with a soft R. It is the hardest PG-13 movie I've ever seen Marvel put out. Because of the action violence and especially the horror violence which plays out in the animal experimentations, if you are a parent of a little one and are thinking of taking them along because they love the Guardians, I really encourage you to go see it by yourself first. Once you do, you'll be better able to judge if your little ones are ready to experience. Now, I say, because of the violence and really dark subject matter that is literally in your face, it's not for young children, but I'm not a parent, and I don't have to make those choices for my non-existent kids. This movie is also full of surprises. The trailers make it seem like a few beloved characters might just meet their maker by the end of the movie. That assumption, along with a few others, have spread like wildfire across the blogosphere and Twitter scoopers and comic book websites to where it's almost become accepted not only as fact, but as common knowledge. Without giving too much away, let's just say, leave your expectations at the door, because this movie goes out of its way to subvert those expectations. So much so that it makes me think more than one of those common knowledge rumors were probably planted by the studio. Regardless, all the decisions made for all the characters are ultimately the smartest choices for those characters and make the most sense. So regardless of who lives or who dies, you will not leave the theater disappointed. By the end of the movie, the Guardians as we have known them are no more. There's a new captain of a mostly new crew of Guardians. New leadership has been installed to navigate Nowhere and all its old and new citizens. Some beloved OG characters have left the MCU for good. Some have left with a promise to return if needed. The movie ends on a hopeful note for all that are left, and a hopeful note for the audience as well. All in all, a great movie. Real quickly, before I get into how many butter pumps Guardians has earned, I want to do a couple of rapid-fire info dumps here. Here we go. Howard the Duck makes another amazing MCU cameo. Cosmo the dog was a delight in every way. Sylvester Stallone as Stakar Ogord was wasted in a blink and you'll miss it kind of a cameo. As stated before, Adam Warlock as a character is done dirty in this movie. He's given absolutely zero to do except for be an errand boy for the High Evolutionary. I really hope this isn't the end for this particular character because he deserves better. Lila, Teefs, and Floor are Rocket's lab friends and aid in Rocket's backstory, being the best part of this movie. Again, when they die, weeping, tears, openly sobbing in the movie theater. So good. Yondu makes a blink and you'll miss it cameo. David Bautista still can't act. God bless his heart. He can't act, but he's as good as he ever was here as Drax. And finally, y'all leave Jennifer Holland alone. For real. Leave that woman alone. So how many butter pumps am I going to give this movie? 5 butter pumps.
Yeah.
That's right, 5 butter pumps. It truly is the best of the 3 Guardians movies, and hopefully it's a soft pivot for Marvel as a whole into more mature and less cartoonish subject matter. We'll see on that, but let's hope so. What a great movie, you guys. What a fantastic movie. Please go see this movie. So now I turn it over to you, my beautiful butter babies. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? If so, what did you think about it? How many butter pumps would you give it? Sound out down below in the comments. I want to hear all about it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, butter babies. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.